Hi everyone, so we're here today looking at some of the basic functions you get on the Microsoft Teams Room panel, just an overview really on how to use one of these systems. So the panel I've got here today is a Poly GC8 panel, but the interface will be exactly the same regardless of which manufacturer you're using for your Microsoft Teams Room. So there are some really basic buttons here on the front. This meet button that I've got here, that will start an ad hoc meeting and I could use that to invite people into the meeting room. The call option that I've got, if I've got a Microsoft calling plan, I can use that to make telephone calls out to standard telephone numbers. And I've got a share button. If I'm not in a call and I wanted to share through HDMI, I can hook a HDMI into my laptop, press the share button, start sharing. There's also an option here if I go into the extra settings page to join with an ID. This is quite a new feature. It's only been out for a few weeks. But you might have noticed on your Microsoft Teams meetings now, there's also a meeting ID that's populated. And if I click join with an ID, I can then go in, I can type in that meeting ID and that passcode. That'll let me join the meeting using the meeting ID. What you can see here is we've actually forwarded our meeting to the panel already, and that gives me this join button. So a really great feature of modern day conferencing systems, and this will be the same whether you're on Zoom or whether you're using WebEx or on a Microsoft Teams Room, but this is the Microsoft Teams Room panel, is you get that one-touch join functionality. So you don't have to dial into everything manually anymore. You come and with one press of a button, you can get straight into your meeting room. So that's how easy it is to join using that one-touch join button. So maybe I've come to the meeting room and I haven't forwarded my meeting to the panel, but I've got the meeting in my calendar, so I'm on my mobile device here, and you can see I've got my meeting. I can select join, and one of the options that I get down here, if I click this little arrow, is join and add room. So if I click add a room, I can then find the meeting room that I'm in. It'll come up with all of my meeting rooms. I'm in the project space, and if I click there and then join, again, my meeting room is going to automatically join the call. So I'm there, I'm connected, I've not even had to touch the touch panel, and I could do that regardless of whether or not I've sent my meeting invite to the room. So some of the basic features that we get here on the panel once we're in a meeting room, I can see my participants list down the right-hand side here, and I can see who's got themselves on mute. So at the moment, I'm the only person with an open mic that's speaking into the call. Down at the bottom here, I've got some really basic functions. So I've got my emoticons button here. If I push that, I can do my thumbs up, hand wave, all those things that everyone's used to seeing now into the call. I've got volume up and down, or I can mute the audio on the system completely. I can mute my camera so that we stop sending video out of the room. I've got a microphone mute button here as well. Or if I click the little arrow next to that, I've actually got noise suppression options, and I can turn that up or down depending on what I want that to be set to. And then I've got a presentation option as well. We'll come back to that in a moment. Over here on the left-hand side, I've got my views. So at the moment we're in gallery mode. What that does is it puts it in that standard view that we're used to seeing in Microsoft Teams calls, where you've got all the people in different squares. Together mode, I can enable so that it puts everyone in chairs, tries to make everyone look like they're in the same room. So we'll have a little look at the front row features. So if I come here to my gallery view options and I select front row, that will put the system into front row mode. So I'll just spotlight one of our participants so we can see what that looks like. And then if I come over here to the system, and Jeremy will just start sharing some content for me. So what you see here in front row, all of your participants would line up along the bottom of the screen here, so you'd have all your different people dialed in. Any participants that you've spotlighted will stay on this big screen over here so that you can keep focus on those. Your presentation comes up nice and big on the left-hand screen so everyone can see it. If anyone raises their hand to ask a question, that will appear down here on the left. And you also get your chat messages permanently on screen over here on the right. So if anyone's posted any questions or any messages in the chat, they'll appear up there as well. So that's a really high-level overview of the front row settings. So I'm just going to go back to gallery mode, and then I'm going to go to the share options, and what we've actually got is a content camera hooked up. So if I share the content camera into the call, what you're going to see is it's going to scan our whiteboard here, and it's going to zoom in on it. And then I can take a pen, and I've only got a black pen with me today, but this would work for all sorts of different colors. If I take the pen and I start writing on the board, so I'll just write test, and what you can see is that's going to be digitized and shared into the call. And then what that means is I can stand back in front of it, and even though I am between the camera and the whiteboard, everyone can still read the writing that's in the meeting there. So then I can stand in front and I can carry on writing, and even though at the moment you can't see what it is I'm putting on the board, once I move out of the way, that's going to scan in, and then again I can move back in front and everyone can keep seeing that content at all times. So that's a really high-level overview of some of the basic features and functionalities that you get on a Microsoft Teams Room panel and what you can expect to see if you put Microsoft Teams Rooms into your environment.